Welcome to Lesson 16.9 on United Nations and multilateral agencies. This lesson explores funding opportunities from intergovernmental organizations, which represent some of the largest sources of development and humanitarian funding globally. Multilateral agencies pool resources from multiple member countries to address global challenges that no single nation can solve alone. Understanding how these organizations operate, how they procure services, and how to position your organization for multilateral funding opens significant opportunities for impactful work. The multilateral funding landscape includes UN agencies like the World Health Organization and UNICEF, development banks like the World Bank, and specialized funds like the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Each operates differently, but common principles apply across the sector. By the end of this lesson, you will understand major multilateral funders, their procurement processes, and strategies for accessing multilateral funding opportunities. Multilateral funding operates through organizations that pool resources from multiple member countries to address shared challenges. This pooling creates funding at scales often exceeding what individual bilateral donors can provide. Multilateral funding addresses global challenges requiring collective action, including pandemic response, climate change, poverty reduction, and humanitarian crises. These challenges cross national boundaries and require coordinated international response. The scale of multilateral funding is substantial. The World Bank Group alone lends tens of billions of dollars annually. UN agencies collectively manage billions more. This scale creates opportunities for organizations capable of operating at the level multilateral agencies require. Procurement processes differ significantly from traditional grants familiar to many organizations. Multilateral agencies often use competitive procurement resembling government contracting, with detailed terms of reference, evaluation based on technical and financial criteria, and contract-style implementation arrangements. Technical expertise and implementation capacity are essential for success. Multilateral agencies seek partners who can deliver results at scale in challenging environments, building relevant capacity positions organizations for multilateral opportunities. The United Nations comprises numerous specialized agencies, funds, and programs, each with distinct mandates and funding mechanisms. Understanding this structure helps identify relevant opportunities. The UN system is not a single organization but a family of entities. Major agencies include the World Health Organization, Food and Agriculture Organization, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, and International Labor Organization. Funds and programs include UNICEF, UNDP, and others. The World Health Organization, or WHO, leads global health coordination, setting standards, providing technical guidance, and coordinating international health emergency response. WHO procures technical assistance, research, and implementation support. UNICEF focuses on children's welfare and development, working in education, health, nutrition, and child protection. UNICEF is one of the largest UN purchasers of goods and services. The United Nations Development Programme, or UNDP, supports sustainable development across 170 countries, addressing poverty, inequality, and climate change. UNDP works extensively through partnerships and procurement. The World Bank Group represents the largest multilateral development institution, providing financing, technical assistance, and knowledge sharing for development worldwide. The International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, or IBRD, lends to middle-income and credit-worthy low-income countries. IBRD financing supports infrastructure, education, health, and governance improvements. The International Development Association, or IDA, provides concessional financing, including grants and low-interest loans, to the world's poorest countries. IDA resources support basic development needs where commercial financing is unavailable. The International Finance Corporation, or IFC, focuses on private sector development, providing investment and advisory services to businesses in developing countries. IFC works with companies and financial institutions rather than governments directly. World Bank procurement follows detailed policies and procedures designed to ensure fair competition, value for money, and development effectiveness. Understanding these procedures is essential for accessing World Bank-funded opportunities. Global health initiatives represent specialized multilateral mechanisms focused on specific health priorities. These initiatives channel significant funding through distinct mechanisms. The Global Fund to Fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria is a partnership organization that raises and invests billions annually to support programs in more than 100 countries. The Global Fund works through country coordinating mechanisms and principal recipients. Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, provides vaccines to low-income countries, working with manufacturers, countries, and partners to increase immunization coverage. Gavi has immunized over 800 million children since its founding. UNITAID funds innovation in health products, investing in tools for HIV, tuberculosis, malaria, and other diseases. UNITAID seeks to make products more accessible and affordable. The Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, or CEPI, supports vaccine development for emerging infectious diseases. CEPI's profile rose significantly during the COVID-19 pandemic. Each initiative has specific funding mechanisms, eligibility requirements, and application processes that differ from traditional UN procurement. Regional development banks complement the World Bank with focused attention on specific geographic regions. Each bank has evolved distinct priorities while sharing common development finance approaches. The African Development Bank, or AFDB, serves the African continent with financing for infrastructure, private sector development, governance, and skills development. The AFDB emphasizes African ownership and continental integration. The Asian Development Bank, or ADB, focuses on Asia and the Pacific region, supporting poverty reduction, sustainable growth, and regional cooperation. ADB is among the largest multilateral development banks. The Inter-American Development Bank, or IDB, covers Latin America and the Caribbean, financing development projects and providing technical assistance and knowledge products. IDB addresses regional development challenges. Each regional bank has distinct priorities reflecting its region's needs and opportunities. Procurement processes often resemble World Bank approaches but with regional variations. Organizations seeking regional development bank funding should understand specific bank procedures. Multilateral funding frequently uses procurement processes that differ substantially from traditional grants. Understanding these differences is essential for success. Procurement processes issue requests for proposals or quotations against specific terms of reference. These terms of reference define requirements precisely, specifying what services are needed, expected deliverables, required qualifications, and evaluation criteria. Evaluation typically combines technical quality and price considerations. Technical proposals receive scores based on methodology, team qualifications, and relevant experience. Financial proposals are evaluated for cost effectiveness. Different weighting approaches apply across agencies. Contracts resulting from procurement specify deliverables and payment terms in detail. Payment may be linked to milestone completion rather than expenditure reimbursement. Contract amendments require formal processes. Performance management under multilateral contracts is often more rigorous than under traditional grants. Regular reporting, monitoring visits, and performance assessments are standard. Poor performance can affect future opportunities. Terms of reference, commonly abbreviated TOR, are foundational documents in multilateral procurement that define what is being purchased and how proposals will be evaluated. The background section explains the context, including the problem being addressed, relevant history, and why this procurement is needed. Understanding background helps you position your response appropriately. Objectives specify what the assignment should achieve. Clear objectives guide your proposed approach and help demonstrate how your methodology will meet the funder's needs. The scope of work details required activities, often specifying tasks, geographic coverage, and technical requirements. Your proposal must respond to each element of the scope comprehensively. Deliverables and timelines establish expectations for outputs and schedule. Proposals should demonstrate realistic planning that meets these requirements. Understanding TOR documents thoroughly before developing proposals is essential. Proposals that fail to address TOR requirements completely will score poorly regardless of other strengths. Technical proposals demonstrate your organization's capability and proposed approach for meeting the terms of reference. Strong technical proposals address evaluation criteria comprehensively. The methodology section explains how you will deliver the required services. This is often the most important section, demonstrating that you understand the challenge and have a thoughtful, feasible approach. Be specific rather than generic. Team composition shows the relevant expertise you will deploy. Evaluators assess whether proposed personnel have qualifications and experience relevant to the assignment. Include CVs and clearly explain each team member's role. Past performance provides evidence of capability through previous relevant work. Describe similar assignments you have completed successfully, emphasizing relevance to the current opportunity. References may be contacted. Following format requirements precisely is essential. Multilateral agencies often specify page limits, required sections, and formatting requirements. Non-compliant proposals may be rejected without evaluation. Attention to detail signals professionalism. Financial proposals detail the costs for your proposed work, enabling evaluation of value for money alongside technical quality. Budget formats are often prescribed by the agency issuing the procurement. Follow these formats exactly. Common elements include personnel costs by level and duration, travel and transportation, equipment and supplies, and indirect costs. Rates should be competitive but realistic. Proposing unrealistically low rates to win may result in inability to deliver quality work. Proposing rates far above market may make your proposal uncompetitive. Research appropriate rate levels. Cost breakdown enables evaluators to assess whether proposed costs are reasonable for the work described. Line item budgets allow detailed scrutiny. Be prepared to justify significant costs. Financial proposals are often submitted separately from technical proposals to protect price confidentiality during technical evaluation. Follow submission instructions carefully to maintain this separation when required. Some evaluations are technically weighted, meaning technical scores determine ranking with price as a secondary factor. Others use combined scoring. Understanding the evaluation method helps inform pricing strategy. Accessing multilateral procurement typically requires registration with relevant agencies before you can submit proposals. Most UN agencies require vendor registration before organizations can compete for contracts. Registration involves providing organizational information, capabilities, and supporting documentation. The UN Global Marketplace, or UNGM, centralizes registration for many UN agencies, allowing organizations to register once and express interest in opportunities across multiple agencies. Registration categories match your capabilities to relevant procurement areas. The World Bank has separate registration systems. The Systematic Tracking of Exchanges in Procurement, or STEP, system tracks procurement opportunities. Client Connection provides access to project information and consultant databases. Pre-qualification may be required for major contracts, with agencies evaluating organizational capability before inviting proposals. Pre-qualification assessments examine financial capacity, technical expertise, and management systems. Maintaining registrations current and complete ensures you can respond when opportunities arise. Outdated registrations may disqualify you from consideration. Review and update registration information regularly. Finding multilateral opportunities requires monitoring multiple sources and building networks that provide early intelligence. The UN Global Marketplace lists procurement opportunities across the UN system. Search by category, location, or agency. Set up alerts for relevant opportunity types. The World Bank publishes procurement opportunities through STEP and individual project pages. Country offices also announce local procurements. Development Gateway, DevEx, and similar services aggregate international development opportunities from multiple sources, including multilateral agencies. Subscription services provide more comprehensive coverage. Individual agency websites announce specific procurements. Major agencies like WHO, UNICEF, and UNDP maintain procurement portals. Check relevant agencies regularly. Building relationships provides advance intelligence about upcoming opportunities. Agency staff, implementing partners, and consultants who work in your areas can share information about developing procurements before formal announcements. Relationship investment pays dividends. Positioning your organization for multilateral funding success requires strategic investment over time. Building relevant track record through smaller opportunities creates credentials for larger contracts. Start with assignments matching your current capacity and use success to build toward bigger opportunities. Developing expertise in agency priority areas aligns your capabilities with what multilaterals need. Track agency strategies, monitor emerging priorities, and invest in relevant technical capacity. Investing in understanding agency processes and culture improves your competitiveness. Each agency has distinct ways of working. Learning these nuances through experience, training, or relationships helps you navigate effectively. Building partnerships with experienced organizations can accelerate access. Joint ventures or subcontracting relationships with established multilateral partners allow you to gain experience while contributing your expertise. Maintaining a long-term perspective on relationship building recognizes that multilateral success rarely comes quickly. Organizations successful with multilaterals typically invested years building relevant credentials, relationships, and understanding before winning significant opportunities. Multilateral funding presents challenges that organizations should understand before investing significant effort. Complex processes require significant investment to navigate. Proposal development for major multilateral contracts can consume substantial staff time and resources. Not all investments will result in awards. Competition includes large, established organizations with extensive multilateral experience. Major consulting firms, international NGOs, and specialized development contractors compete for significant opportunities. Differentiation is essential. Payment timelines may be lengthy, with invoices processed through bureaucratic systems. Organizations need working capital to manage cash flow gaps. Contract terms may be less flexible than grants, with detailed specifications and change control processes. Adapting to changing circumstances may require formal amendments. Geographic presence may be required for some opportunities, with agencies preferring or requiring organizations with established offices in implementation locations. Building geographic presence requires investment. Today's lesson explored United Nations and multilateral agency funding. We established that multilateral agencies represent major funding sources, pooling resources from member countries to address global challenges at scale. The UN system and World Bank Group are the largest multilateral funders, collectively managing tens of billions in annual funding. Understanding their structures and priorities helps identify relevant opportunities. Procurement processes differ significantly from traditional grants. Terms of reference, technical and financial proposals, and contract-style arrangements characterize multilateral funding. Adapting to these processes is essential for success. Registration and relationship building are essential foundations for multilateral success. Register with relevant agencies, maintain registrations current, and invest in relationships that provide intelligence and partnership opportunities. Organizations should approach multilateral funding strategically, building credentials through smaller opportunities before pursuing major contracts. In our next lesson, we examine adapting grant skills for global contexts, addressing currency conversion, international partnerships, and cultural considerations in proposal development. Thank you for engaging with these concepts about multilateral funding.